I always, I mean, even from a kid when the old TV shows were around, probably none of you will remember these. There was The Naked City, a cop show. There are 8 million stories in The Naked City. This is one. They have one person and suddenly they get in trouble and they end up with the cops and things play out. This is a detective show, but that theme, everybody has their story. I really like that, my Jupiter in the third house in Scorpio. But then there was the millionaire. If someone gives $1 million to someone on condition, he can't tell anybody. And they get given the money and then they go and mess up their life in all these different ways because they got the money without understanding what it took to make it. I really like those stories. For any personal stories, they tend to see the understanding of how someone got into something. That's got me into astrology even. But when we start going through the houses, if we look at expression and thinking and learning, that's I'm always trying to expand, or when I'm talking, I'm thinking I know what I'm understanding. And even when I'm not, I'm exaggerating, I'm talking, and I'm expecting everybody should be listening. And often when I understand something, I'll interrupt other people who are talking just because, and it's not just a Jupiter, that's my Mars too, but still, I have been exposed to many cultures. I've had teachers from different religions. I have had people who've come in, have left me knowledge that I had to work with for many years. And so I have had fortunate teachers. It doesn't mean I've had the easiest life. But the expression and trying to expand on, trying to develop. When I was a little kid, when you said, what do you want to be when you're old? I used to say, I want to be able to tell wise stories and tell stories that everybody loved. When I was 4 or 5 years old, that was what I wanted to be. So like, when it was the 16 and Dylan was coming out, one of the songs I loved this line, I'll know my song well before I start singing it. So like these things, expressions and understandings around, they just fired me up. They just encouraged me to keep going on. When you go to the second house, see, I was using this in the Jupiter and values, the opportunity, Jupiter's opportunity to learn from values. What money you have, what you're going to invest in, what you're going to speculate on, how to attract more, how to use what you have. You're going to be clued in a little more to using what you have. I got this, I can use it. I don't have enough. I got to get some more so I can get to this party or get to these functions. It always has a way of how to get the more. So it has an understanding what I have to do what do I have to work at and guide my Mars to do. What stuff do I have, what duties do I have to do to be able to get the benefit, to get the money I need to do what I want. That's like Jupiter in the second. With the Jupiter in the first house, that's the self-identity, my personal image. I'm somebody. Now, generally, Jupiter in the first house is not going to be skinny. But someone who travels a lot, very active, or be in a dance or something like that, may be thin. But generally, the abundance will show on one's body or one's appearance. But at different ages, that can be different things. But I understand, I'm expanding, I'm doing this, I want to go this, I'm building up me. This is something I want to have. I want to wear this, I want to do this, I'm somebody. That's Jupiter. That's the first house. And the Jupiter being, you're going to learn from being too much of a self, being too much of an ego, being too arrogant, and then being humbled and having to learn how to be more compassionate and get a better understanding around it. But it might be hard to get teachers because you're too busy wanting to be the teacher, so seeing yourself as the teacher or the traveler. These are all things that expand, expose us to other people. When Jupiter gets above the horizon, the conscious house, the house of confinement, often one's own undoings. If you do something wrong, you'll pay 10 times right. If you're doing things wrong, it'll have immediate cost for you. But the minute you get pathetic and you start praying or understanding, why am I here? What's this? There's always angels watching out for you. So you can get through a lot of difficult things with Jupiter in 12th house, but in the end, you have your spiritual guides. So whenever you're doing things right, you'll be taken care of. As soon as you have bad things happen, it's because you've stopped doing some things right. Jupiter there will learn, that's one of the lessons they'll learn, how to be conscientious. Now, do I go for this or not? The Jupiter in the friendship house, in the 11th house, has you got to learn through your friends and enemies. Who's been a friend, who's not? What friends, you have friends that have the same understanding? Do you have friends that have different understandings? Do you learn from your friends? So this point of who do you know, how many people do you know, who are you part of, where do you play with, the team, it's the team spirit, but it's also the peer pressure. The friends are all doing this, I need to be aligned with this, how do you expand? So Jupiter is trying to understand how to set up your peer pressure. how to set up your friends and that, and what team, what groups you're with. And this can change. You can believe, well, geez, when I was a teenager, I was traveling around smoking grass a lot. Like once I left home, I was late teens, I was smoking grass, and anybody who smoked grass could be a friend. Well, why not? Well, now I still know some people smoke. I don't smoke anymore for many years, but at that time it was a friendship. So you could share smoke, you could do something, sit down, be together. It doesn't matter what you're into. In that moment, there would be a friendship. It's not necessarily the most reliable friendships, but actually, for me, I don't have this here. My best friendships were when I played in a team sport. My friendship was when I played in a team sports in school. I never felt it was part of a team other than then. So, but many people there's such a diversity of experiences that can happen in that, of what friends you attract, who you align with, what you're going to do, this team spirit. When it's working properly, that's a really positive thing. You know who to align with, where to be with, what to be part of, how to, and how to teach or bring people together around a common idea. The 10th house of Jupiter is up to your career, status, honor, dignity. You understand what needs to be done for authority. Do you have the principles to do what's right? And if you say you're going to do something, do you accomplish it? Do you finish it? Here, Jupiter has to almost align with Saturn. How much am I accomplishing to get honor? But it's looking for better positions, looking for, I want to feel right about what I've accomplished. I want to feel I've done it right. I don't want to feel I've done it wrong. And when you're working for career, there's many situations that you're challenged to put things, if something's a compromise, it's not exactly right, but we got to do this. Things are shoved under the table, and someone with Jupiter in the 10th house would have severe repercussions from doing not honorable things or not aligning properly with that. So you might understand respect or what's needed around dignity. The understanding is going to be geared to getting that, more so than it is to having a home. Okay, so in the morality 9th house, Jupiter's comfortable there. It's the house of ethics and morality and principles. What's right and wrong? It's the house of, I understand what's going on. I see it. Don't tell me what's right or wrong. I know it. You're the one that's off. There's a strong sense of being properly aligned and being wise or moral. The moral majority. So your judgment is, I'm living a moral life. You can't question. I go to church. I do this. I go that. I'm living a moral life. I'm part of this business. I didn't do anything wrong. We're going this way. And there's a tendency to align according to what's right or wrong. Well, Jupiter thrives there and blossoms very well in that area. And that opens up, well, once I'm here, I can go, I can travel, I can expand this. But it's aligning through certain ethics. And when it's positive, you have all the right people. When it's negative, you have all the unreliable people coming around. And what are you doing with that group? Get caught in cults, get caught in bad business groups, or other things can come from that. But the morality, I would probably change it now. Like I made these drawings 10 years ago or something. I would probably, like this principles is what's usually used. I put morality, I like that. But ethics is probably a more neutral word that includes all of these things. So ethics, social ethics, what's right, that's that 9th house, and Jupiter will thrive on that, and it will be guiding you to do things according to what you think is right or wrong or moral. When it comes to the 8th house of trust, of sharing resources, trust me, I'll do this, trust me, invest this, we'll make it, it'll really expand. Well, it's the right time to buy this stock. We can invest in this. It's really nice time to buy the house, and the property values will go up. Just let's go for it. Trust me. No business is done without trust. A lot of marriages are done without trust, but it has to start with a sense of each person has to sense they have a trust or certain resources to add to it. And how you use the energies of togetherness. That's the trust house. And Jupiter there knows how to work with the resources that people have. Not necessarily so easy to build up their own, but they know how to work with other people's. And that's a good skill, as long as they're trustworthy. As soon as they compromise the trust, they're going to get really strong lessons in understanding what not having trust is.